I am Phil Ora with the American Red Cross. I am interviewing William Bill Woodward in Claremore, Oklahoma. Also present with us is Leanne McCready, who is recording this interview. Also observing is Joanne Owens and Samantha Henry. The interview is being conducted for the Veterans History Project of the American Folklife Center of the Library of Congress. Today is September 12th, 2019. Bill, why don't you give us your full and complete name?
William Eugene Woodward.
When and where were you born?
Okay, it should have been in Stigler, Oklahoma, but my mother went over to private residence in Fort Smith, Arkansas, so I have to say I'm an Arkansas career instead of Tulsa all my life.
And when was that?
October the 19th, 1931. I've got, hold on just a second. Due to one of the medicines I take, I get dry mouth. I need some ice water. It just came on me, quickly.
Okay.
So we'll have to delay.
Okay. Let's hear a little bit about your family, your parents' names, and what their occupations were, and if you have any brothers and sisters.
Yes, a single mother, and Wilma, and had a sister, Beverly. Oh, okay, and okay, that's it.
And that's it. What happened to your father?
Don't know.
Okay. And what did your mother do for a living?
She worked for Safeway before it became Homeland, and a little lady just a block away kept my sis and I. We called her Mama Jo, a nice, heavily set black lady. So no one could ever say, but I'm Indian anyway, Choctaw and Cherokee. So they sure couldn't say I was what do you call it, a racist or bigoted or whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't say it. You could, okay, so that's enough of that.
And what did your sister do?
She died in '94. Had two children, two little girls, and I lost track of the whole family at that time.
And where did you go to school?
What?
Where did you go to school?
At Holy Family in Tulsa, where I gave the blood, and then after I got out of the Marines, as a matter of fact, I hadn't really got out yet before I enrolled in Bacone College, and junior college that is, and went back and got my discharge, and then came back. We were undefeated national champions in 1952, I'll add that, and went to the Rose Bowl. So we had a good team. Our coach was Harold Tuffy Stratton, who from there he went to TU, and I went with him. He withdrew and went to Arkansas Tech. I withdrew and went with him. He withdrew and went to Arkansas State. I said, I'm staying right here. So I graduated May of 1956 from Arkansas Tech, and I might not have been the smartest kind of school, but no one could outwork me. I finished number one. So, and a girl tied me. There was our fullback's wife to be here, I don't know if he's married or not yet. And so I beat her by 2 points on a GED or some kind of test. So I still won, and she was 1.5. That's. Then I came. From that, I went to be a manager of a Western Auto store in Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff 8. Went to Fort Worth, manager number 1. My wife could not stand Fort Worth, and she said, we have got to leave. I'm going crazy. So I had no alternative except to leave that position and take one as a Tulsa County Sheriff's Office, and worked there 37 years, 5 months, and 11 days under Dave Faulkner. Let's see, and from there down, I'm lost again.
Take your time.
Okay, from that time I can't remember exactly what I did or where I went. Doggone it. I think I got And I just can't remember right now, so help me.
That's fine. And I understand you're in the Marine Corps?
Uh-huh.
When did you enter the Marine Corps?
I originally joined February the 5th, 1948, and came back as and was attached to a reserve unit, 20th Infantry Battalion in Tulsa, and was going to school. That's how I got to school, finished my high school, while I was a member of that 20th Infantry Battalion. The Korean War broke out, and they immediately activated us and sent us to Camp Pendleton, and overseas we went, invaded Incheon, Korea, September the 15th, 1950. And I was at that time a corporal, squad leader of the 5th Squad, 3rd Section, Baker Company, 1st Battalion, 1st Regiment, 1st Division. Got wounded 3 times, 2 Purple Hearts. I would not turn in for the one. I got shrapnel in the right eye. They reduced it from 2010 to 14,480, and that ended the good sight in my good eye. Now, this one was kind of fouled up due to some kind of a misconnection here. It wasn't their fault here, but it was something happened. And so I barely can see now. I can't read anything like newspaper or a sports book, dadgummit. And that is bug. I have to use a magnifying glass, so I can't do much reading anymore. Okay, now, so I was discharged September 25th, 1951, and that's schooling involved that. Well, like I say, I was still at Macomb and went back to get discharged, came back.
Is there a particular reason why you decided to join the Marine Corps?
Well, I had an uncle that was a Marine and another uncle that was on the Oklahoma when Pearl Harbor was bombed, Uncle Clyde. So I didn't know which one to join, but I just thought the Marines would be better, tougher, and sure enough, I just did, so I liked it. And I wasn't promoted finally till I was, I should tell you, I was on the last wound. I went to the hospital ship Constellation, then the old Naval Hospital, then to San Francisco Naval there, and then to Corpus Christi Naval Hospital. And then when they released me from the Corpus Christi Naval Hospital, I went to be the brig warden at the Corpus Christi Naval Air Station. And I was still a corporal, and the commanding officer come up and said, "What happened?" I had on the 2 stripes. I said, "Nothing." He said, "I was there overseas when your 3rd stripe came through. Be in the office in 5 minutes, and you will be a sergeant, like you should be." I said, "Well, thank you, sir. Got it. If I hadn't got that, I'd have been discharged a corporal instead of a sergeant, like I should have been." Everybody called me Sarge anyway. As a matter of, well, that's neither here nor there, but the corpsman that treated me was named Elliott from Oklahoma City, and he come up the steps at a 1964 OU football game. My son and I were sitting there, and he hollered, "Sarge, I remember you. You're the one that wouldn't take that morphine because you didn't want your thinking colored." And people turned around and looked, and my son says, "Dad, I can remember that to this day." And I can understand why, that kind of a deal. I never got a hold of that Elliott from Oklahoma City, and I thought I should have. I don't know why I didn't, but he's the one that made sure I got okay. Enough of that. Okay, where are we? I don't want to talk too much because I'm not much of a talker.
No, you talk as much as you want. What were your early days of training like?
Camp Pendleton, excuse me, San Diego, California. Then Camp Pendleton, California.
What were those days like? What was the training? Was the training pretty tough?
Tougher than a boot. I mean, we ran. If one guy in the platoon made a mistake, everybody paid. We ran. And when I got to be, I was designated the 4th squad leader because I knew my left and my right, because I'd always did it at home and had those relatives in, and so they made me 4 squad leader, but that made no difference. I still, everything, we all did the same thing, all 4 squads. About 59 or something like that then. I can't remember that for sure.
Did you receive any specialized training?
No, they, as the Marines say, we don't get a combat infantryman's badge because we're all fighters. That be that as it may. Training.
How was adapting to military life for you?
Fine. Enjoyed it. Nothing went wrong. I enjoyed my time going in overseas as in work in Bay Company, back in the hospitals. It seemed like they treated me nicer even than I could thought. Then I looked out getting those good jobs, and I just didn't like being, well, doing it, that's all.
What was your job when you were overseas? What was your job? What was your duty?
Well, I was the squad leader of the 5th Squad of a machine gun platoon. Yeah, I guess that's what you did, machine gun platoon. And we had two squads to each section. Medal of Honor winner was in the 6th Squad named Albert Collins. I had the 5th, and we did everything together.
How long were you overseas?
Let's see, I can't quite put that together. From August 15th, 1950 until I came home then, and good golly, it was up in, I guess, September after all the hospital trips, three different ones. Yeah, that's close enough.
Sure, I understand.
Because I can't remember everything.
You're doing very good.
Oh.
Did you form a lot of friendships in the military?
Yes, I really did. So help me. I guess we just got along good, and I treated the men that was under me and the squad the way I'd want to be treated. And there's a guy that was my gunner named Philip York, wrote a letter to the commandant. Now, my gunner named Philip M. York wrote a letter in 90, I think it's maybe, I can't remember, I've got a copy of it up there. He wrote the commandant of the Marine Corps outlining different things that I've done with a 45 and my machine gun, and wrote the commandant, and the commandant called him back and by phone and said, there had to be an officer with you to get any kind of a medal. Phil called him and said, if there'd been an officer there, we'd probably all be dead. But I've got a copy. And then one of the guys at Post 1 in Tulsa, what's it? The organization there. What's the Marine Corps? I mean, I can't think of the name of the organization. Dadgummit, I can't believe it. I can't, no kidding. American Legion, Post 1. Remember, the oldest post in America. I've been a member there for 40-something years or more. And the guy from there wrote President Trump, said this man was overlooked vehemently. He should get something. And I've got the copy of the letter he wrote, and I said, yeah, I guess I got the feeling I should have, after all, a little something. Because there was many a good. They might have got me 3 times, shrapnel, but so help me. The letter that Phil wrote proves it, got dozens of them, the enemy. And I said, I hope in the final roll, it's called up yonder, that thou shalt not kill, this doesn't mean when you have to do it for the defense of your country. And I believe that wholeheartedly. My grandmother said, you cannot, she believed in the 10 Commandments, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have killed anybody until then for love or money. That's kind of weak-hearted, actually, believe it or not. But I would defend people right quick. And guys, I know, prove that, but okay, enough of that.
Do you still keep in contact with any of your Marine Corps buddies?
Barely, and I mean barely. It's too many years gone by.
Yes, I understand. Well, we do appreciate you and thank you
Yeah.
for your service. And what was it like returning home? Was it hard to get back to adjustment?
He told me he loved something more than you think. He loved coming home. And I guess anybody that had a husband would think the same thing, that would know that. When we got over the ships, I'll tell you how happy. I'll add this right quick. We came home, 42 of us wounded Marines. Time out. There's 42 of us wounded Marines. As it said, we were on the General Edwin D. Patrick naval ship, and he was going to stop in Hawaii, as I was told to pronounce it, instead of Hawaii. And we put up a house, and oh, please, one more day. That ship's captain circumvented that stop in Hawaii and got us back to Frisco. We jumped off that ship, and you know what we did? We kissed the deck. You've heard people do it, well, we did it. I'm one of them that did it, all of us did. And then I stayed there for a while, and okay, that's enough of that. Had a lot of friends on the ship, buddies, pals that I met. Had a good time in Frisco. Met the star of Valentino named Anthony Dexter over there, because I was sitting with a girlfriend in there. And as we came by, I said, way to go, Marine, patted me on the back. Well, probably shouldn't tell that, but anyway, things developed to where I met him. And now I'd like to see that movie again, because it was really good. He played the role of Rudolph Valentino, and we become friends. I saw him the next year in Tijuana with my aunt and uncle, who was a gambler, whatever, a gambler, and we walking down the street, and here come a guy with 2 girls swinging along. He got past us. I said, Anthony. He turned around. I said, you forgot me. He said, the Marine from Frisco. And so we all went in there and had a tea, something to drink, glass of water maybe, but whatever, something. I don't remember. And I really don't remember what we drank. Okay, enough of it. Now, back to being quiet again.
Well, you don't have to be quiet. You can keep on talking.
Don't know anything else to say right now.
You're doing fine. You're doing a marvelous job. How has your Army life and wartime experience affected your life?
That, Philip, I couldn't tell you how it affected. I just knew a lot more friends, buddies. Enjoyed the serving my country. Wouldn't do it any different. I was headed to Quantico to be an officer when the Korean War broke out from that 20th Infantry Battalion, and missed that one. And then I got a field commission that came through while I was in the hospital. If you're in the hospital, you don't get it. You have to be there to get the $250 to the whatever I was making, 100 as a sergeant. So I dearly enjoyed my trip. If I'd have been an officer, they'd have still put out, because I no longer met the requirements because of the shrapnel in the eye. And so that I hated to get out, but I understand that that's the rule, regulation, so you go by it.
And what did you do once you were out of the service?
Just work the different jobs. I do extra things all the time for different people, all kind of extra stuff, and enjoyed my three children that were born, of which my daughter, who was born in '55, died in 2011, and like to broke my heart. And so anyway, that I still got my son that outfitted me here with everything I got on. A cell phone the day I came in here, and I'll never forgot the number. Who graduated from OU twice, and he graduated from law school and went to work in Tulsa for Works and Lentz. If anybody has heard of them in Tulsa, one of the best law firms in America. But he came in and said, "Dad, I cannot defend someone I know is guilty." I said, I knew where he got that from. I said, "Son, I'm proud of you." He went back to OU, finished #1. And now he's in Columbia, Missouri. He and his wife, boy, what a wonderful girl, Donita, and he comes and they come bring me Pepsis, which I drink. Always did like Pepsis. That was my favorite drink, always. And even back in the days of the Depression, it'd take my sister and I weeks to get 5 pennies for me, 5 for her, and 5 for Ma, and she wanted a Coke. And I would take this 12-ounce then, if I don't know much about that, and we had ice pick and ice box at the house. I'd stick that ice pick down that, suck that thing for an hour, and my sister would get, "Say, Dad, go to you." And when she was on her passing away at the hospital, she remembered that. I said, "I remember how you liked them Pepsi's, Bill." And I said, "Oh, Bill, like to bro." I shouldn't even told that. But anyway, Ma drank Coke, those little 6.5-ounce thick bottles. Never liked Pepsi, but we always would get 3. And pennies was hard to come by back then in the Depression days. They really were. People say that, well, they were. And I worked at everything I could think of, mowing grass. So that covers that.
Those are good memories. Those are special memories for you.
Just sometimes I think
Would you recommend military service for?
And I guess I'm precious, but guess what I'd recommend?
What's that?
The U.S. Marine Corps. And my cellmate up there has a grandson and granddaughter. Well, the grandson, he's a Marine. He was in the Vietnam War, a sergeant. And they split up. And the son, about a year ago, or maybe a little longer, joined the Navy. Well, he was a Marine. He said, "Dad," but he said, "I didn't ever cuss him out because that's his choice." I said, "I know the feeling. So help me." And then he's got another daughter that lives in Broken Arrow. It's got and I tell you that, and his daughter all had is as beautiful as any movie star I ever saw. And then she has, that was her son, the Navy guy, and then another little girl named Sydney, and I had never heard a girl named Sydney except Sidney Greenstreet. He was a movie star, and he wasn't a girl. He was a great big guy. And I thought, well, now I've known 3 Sydneys, believe it or not. So that's just people's choice. And he was like I say, we've talked about a lot of things that they did that was a little different, and it just was different. The Vietnam War was different than the Korean War in a lot of ways. And Agent Orange for one thing, and which we never got gassed. They called it Agent Orange. I almost forgot what that was, but I wasn't in it, but I heard a lot about it. And they say it takes the toll of your children and grandchildren. I said, ooh, it's a wonder they wonder that they used it. Whoever did it, of course, you know about, I've looked at those pictures of newsreels of the people around LBJ, and it's a wonder that one of them, the way they hollered and said, get that more over and mad, it's a wonder he made it through it, really. I think he's lucky to made it because of the way the people hollered. Those newsreels were, well, they just was about to kill people. And I hated that too, but be it as it may. Off the cuff, but that's just because of him. Next, Phil.
You're amazing. How did military life or service affect you regarding our military and what's going on right now?
Well, it's something that we had to have and have to have. And I can tell people, I may have been a Marine, but I've actually, the more I've studied, wartime things, and like the Flying Tigers, I knew who the commanding officer that was and how many kills they got. And they were a member of the Chinese government and then came over, enveloped into the U.S. Air Force, and the head of it got to be a general. And I knew the aces at that time and how many. So we had to have our Air Force. And if we hadn't had a U.S. Air Force, I'm not, after studying time and time again, I'm not sure we could have won World War II, Korea, or Vietnam, because those planes come in and they strafed and bombed as close as from here to those cars out there. And one time we had advanced a little too far there in Korea on a hill, but they called for strafing. And here comes that P-51 or whatever that was, and we could see his hand going on that gun through that windshield, just right there. And they was, whoa, don't do it. I said, we're going to get killed by our own men. And oh man, and he circled, waved, and went off. So we made it. We got the hill and didn't get strafed with that. And then those bombs, as they exploded, as we go, up different places. I'm telling you, it took our Air Force, and I say that what's the word called, unequivocally, for sure. And so therefore I say, I am not prejudiced, but I was glad to be a Marine, and still am to this day. And I remember Post 1 there in Tulsa, America, for 40-something years. They all know me. If you could ask them about my reputation, if I told the truth, and ask any of them, the commander or anyone else, you're welcome to do it. It's Sandra D. Baker, and his wife is Sandy, James D. Baker, and he's the commander. They come here at the fourth Wednesday of every month. It was bingo. So I get to see Jim once a month, yeah, because of that. And then the last two times they've been off, and I didn't find out why. Just I was going to wait it out. Yeah, there's some reason for them to miss. Makes me wonder, hope they weren't sick. But that's it. If he could say to Commander Baker, do you know Bill Woodward? Say, was he this or that? You're welcome to do it. I'll give you my permission. And tell him why that you're a Red Cross. You wanted to heal me. One way or another. Back to Mr. Phillip.
That's all right. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I don't know of anything except I'll let you read the letter that the man wrote if you want to, from about what happened. You kind of get an idea of us being in the action together. I've got it laying right up there on my pillow now because someone asked me to look at it and I can't think who it was. So I can't remember everything. So it's still laying there on the pillow. I cannot think who someone said, Bill, I heard about that letter that was written by Philip M. York, who owned, his dad owned Phil's 6th Street bar in Tulsa. You ever hear of that bar? It was down on 6th Street, and right around wasn't far from downtown Tulsa, and there's a park on 6th in Peoria, and I can't think of the name of that school.
Centennial.
What?
Centennial.
Right, and then right across the street is the park, and then you go 6th, about another block, and there's the bar, and his dad would let me buy beer. And I said, Mr. York, you make me feel. He said, I don't care. My son said if it wasn't for you, he wouldn't be alive, and you're not buying the beer. I said, okay, thank you. So I drank it. But his name was Theodore Roosevelt York. I'll never forget it. And then the son was Philip Murray York, and married a girl named Wanda, and they had 12 children.
Wow.
And lived out in Wagner, and in Longmead trailer home. And my wife and the kids and I went down there one time, and you talk about a hectic 15 kids running around, and it's all there, and then us in there. And I said, that was quite an experience, for sure. And what a family they were, and of course, we were too. Now, what else?
Well, Mr. Woodward, Sergeant Woodward, we do appreciate your service. Thank you for being here and taking part of the Veterans History Project interview.
And
as I say, once a Marine, always a Marine.
that's right, and I'm not so sure if they hadn't have told me that you were in on this, that I would, because I don't like having to say a lot of things I said today. I don't mind it, I just don't feel like saying things, and so help me, I'm not sure they come, but Red Cross did it with Phil. And I mean that. Sam, I was hoping my card, which I'm never gonna ever get now. I wish wonder how they could have lost something like that.
The records.
Time after time after time. If it had been once, twice, even 10 times, I could have understood, but it was, I went all that, they knew me, and when I come in, and I enjoyed getting that, what is it to give you there, used to eat or drink?
Juice or
Juice or crackers.
crackers and snacks.
It's more than coffee, and it's some kind of snack, but I always enjoyed going because we got something that seemed like good to eat and drink.
Oh, giving blood, you're talking about?
Like popcorn.
Giving blood? Gave all that blood to the Red
They
Cross?
usually give you juice and cookies or...
I just can't, it wasn't alcoholic, for
Okay.
sure, as y'all probably know. But it was not, even back then, that was, while I was working out there at Standard, they called it APAC. Oh boy, that's a story I couldn't tell there for sure, but APAC. But anyway, okay, we got goodies and good drinks, whatever they were. And I can't think of what they were. So see, the very root, I can't think of it.
Thank you for your donations.